So day 2 of 6.2 is just kind of piggybacking off of what we did yesterday. It's such an important topic that I want to make sure that we talk about it in more depth again. So on this one, we're using synthetic again. So remember, we're always going to take the opposite sign and put it in our little box in the corner. And then we focus on the numerator, or what we are actually dividing, and take the coefficients from there. Remember, you always want to pay attention to see if there's any missing terms. In this case, there's a missing term on the squared. We need a 0 as a placeholder. From here, we drop down. So we have 3. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Add, we get negative 2. Multiply, we get positive 4. Add, it stays positive 4. Multiply, we get negative 8. Add, we get negative 13. Multiply by negative 2, and we get positive 26. Add, and we get 20. So 20 is being our remainder. So now we just have to write it out. But 3x to the third, because it's less than the fourth. And then we keep going. Squared, x, no x. And then that 20 is our remainder over x plus. So I encourage you to go ahead and try number 2 and 3 on your own. Big thing on number 3 is this is exactly what we are talking about so far. It's this aspect that means divided by. Think about it. Negative exponent means you would put it in the denominator to become a positive exponent. Okay, so go ahead and try those. All right, so at this point, you should have had negative 8 in our little box, 4, then 0, and negative 9. Hopefully we remember to put 0 as a placeholder. Drop it down, and when we multiply, we get negative 32. And then we add, and we get negative 32. And negative 32 times negative 8 is 256. And when you subtract 9, you get 247. So we get 4x minus 32 plus 247 over x plus 8. On number 3, we have a 1 in the corner. We would have 6, 1, negative 2. Drop down the 6. Multiply, and we get 6. Add, we get 7. Multiply 7. Add, we get 5. So we'd get 6y plus 7 plus 5 divided by y minus 1. So again, synthetic, it does only work when the divisor is is a binomial with a leading coefficient of 1. So in other words, you can't divide by something like 2x plus 3. It has to be x plus 3. All right. So keep that in mind as we continue with the synthetic. So here we have a 2 in our little box, and then we have 2, 1, negative 15, and 8. So again, we're going to start on the 2, multiply, which is 4, add is 5, multiply 10, add negative 3. When we multiply, we get negative 6, add, we get a positive. So again, we started with 3, so we're going to have third as our in our answer, then 5x, then 3, we have 2 left. Okay, so again, I would try out 5, 6, and 7 before I work these out. All right, so setting it up kind of fast, we have negative 2, we have 1, 7, 10. Drop it down, we get negative 2, 5, negative 10, and 0. So obviously with this being 0, you've seen this on your homework, your final answer is just x plus 5. And that actually means that this is one of the factors of that, and this would be the other one if we were to factor. That happens anytime that you have 0 as the remainder. All right, so on this one, hopefully as we're going, we realize that there was no x squared. So we do need a 0 as a placeholder. So we get 6, and then 18, and then 21. And then when you multiply, you get 63 minus 14 is 49. So 2x squared plus 6x plus 21 is 49 over x minus 3. On our next one, we have -2, 2, 0, -4, 3, negative. Drop down the 2, we have -4. Then it gives me a +8, -8, -5, +10, 2. So 2x to the third minus 4x squared plus 4x minus 5 plus 2 over x plus 2. So now let's talk about using synthetic to evaluate. So this is actually the same thing as you plugging in -3 into your x. You can do f of -3 and do 2 times -3 cubed plus 4 times -3 minus 6. And you would end up with the same answer as if you were using synthetic division. The only part that actually is somewhat confusing is you do pull the exact same thing. Okay? So the reason why is because when you're doing these, you're pulling out when x minus 3 equals 0. So that's why you're actually using the 3, because x equals 0. Whereas over here, you know what x equals. It equals -3, because that is x. So that's why you just take the negative. So we set everything else up the same way, 2, 0, 4, -6. And we do our synthetic. Drop down the 2, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. Now this time we don't have to write it as an equation. Our final answer is our remainder. So whatever our remainder is what it would be if we plugged it in. So the next one, we want to find g of 2, so we take the 2. We have 3, -7, 9, -14. Drop down the 3, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. My final answer is 0, or